Well, good afternoon. It's wonderful to be here. I'm certainly happy to have the opportunity to take a little time to update each of you on some of the projects and initiatives that are going on in the city. As always, I'd like to thank the Chamber and for Janie for this forum. Appreciate it. Well, because of COVID, Chamber in-person meetings were postponed early last year. And so I actually gave the State of the City last summer. So it's only been a few months, or it's 6 months or so, but nonetheless, we've actually had quite a bit has happened in those months. At that time, I had talked about, we had recently received an upgrade of our general obligation bonds, and this is through Standard & Poor, and we were from AA to AA+. And we were absolutely thrilled with that because we had been given indication previously that most likely we would not be able to increase our bond rating due to our size. And so we were pretty excited that we were able to do that. And the upgrade was based upon the city's economy, budgetary performance, liquidity, moderate debt, and strong management. The trend of strong financials has continued through the end of the year and now the new year. In 2022, we experienced the largest increase in income tax in my recollection. That was 14.67%. Additionally, the city maintains healthy cash reserves, which is a direct result of our disciplined approach to managing revenues and expenses, especially concerning the city's general fund balance, which acts and functions as the city's checking account. Those dollars help us to have the dollars to be able to authorize a full slate of high-quality city services. And it also allows us to be able to make worthwhile community investments in a timely manner. This is why we're able to make significant improvements into our parks, which I'll be discussing in a few moments, at the same time while upgrading our central and building our new central fire station. As always, we are proud of our finance team, who once again earned the Certificate of Achievement in Excellence for Financial Reporting. This award is achieved by only 5% of Ohio's communities. Additionally, we work with a consultant to ensure that our financial policies and cash reserve practices align with the best in the industry. I wanted to talk a little bit about economic development and what's been going on in the community. The city experienced substantial activity over the past year. As COVID subsided, we saw an increase in capital investment in both new as well as established businesses. We had 24 projects that resulted in almost $30 million of capital investment. Some of the larger projects include Suprema USA over on Quadrille Drive. And this is a 16,000 square foot addition. This is their corporate headquarters. And they also will have some addition to their lab space. It's a total investment of $12,600,000. And they're expected to add 10 jobs with this addition. Additionally, ECS Tuning. This is a huge addition. It's a 110,000 square foot expansion along with 10,000 square foot renovation. And this is going to be providing greater distribution, R&D, as well as offices for their corporate headquarters. This is a $23 million investment, and that's with both construction but also with new equipment. We were particularly happy about this particular development because they had opportunity to go elsewhere, out of state, but they chose Wadsworth. They chose to stay here. And we are grateful for that because not only do we retain those 300 employees that they have right now, but they are looking to add another 98 over the next several years. Celebrate Vitamins is also expanding on Corporate Parkway. They have an existing building there now, and right next door they're building a new 15,000 square foot distribution and sales facility. That's an investment of $2.2 million, and they are expected to add another 15 jobs. We've also had some nice corporate expansions. Pictured there is the Corwin building. It's a 31,000 square foot office building that's located on the north end of town. You can see it right as you're driving outside of town. The building's really coming along well. We've had 20 new businesses that opened this past year. Pictured here are some from our downtown. There were actually 9 businesses that opened in our downtown last year. Additionally, we had some development into the Wadsworth Crossings area. Here pictured are some of the businesses that located there. And I'm just going to say community-wide, throughout the community, we also had multiple businesses. So we are thrilled with the investment that they have put into the community, and they are certainly adding to the vibrancy of the community. Our excellent economic development team, led by Matt Springer, who many of you have now met, as well as assisted by Eitan Anderson, continue to utilize the recent economic development strategic plan to guide the city in their efforts. I wanted to talk a little bit about a recent initiative that came out of that strategic plan, as well as a future one. For some time, we have heard from residents that they are interested in adding additional dining options right here in Wadsworth. In addition to the traditional ways of reaching out to potential restaurants, we decided to try something a bit unique. And hence, we have the Restaurant Expansion and Attraction Program. This is a grant program to help expand or attract full-service dining establishments within the city. The city basically dedicated $50,000 for this program. 4 projects are being funded, with almost $1.2 million being invested by the restaurants themselves. And these investments were for renovations, upgrades, and expansion of their local establishments. The 4 businesses that were awarded this is Sonnets, Great Oaks Tavern, Unwind, and Water Main Grill. Obviously, this grant program has been very well received, and it's been very successful. And so we are looking to have a second round following this year, later in this part of this year. Another grant program that we've initiated is called the Match District Facade and Lighting Grant. Previously, I've reported how we've had grant programs that had targeted facade and other improvements for our downtown. Now we are equally excited to now have a grant program designated for buildings located in the Match District. And that district encompasses Main Street buildings that are south of the downtown. Building owners in the district have interest in investing in their buildings, such as Water Main Grill. Water Main Grill is located in this district. And the city is excited to partner with these businesses to make a difference in this gateway area into the community. Economic development is extremely important to the community. As a city, we strive to have excellent relationships as well as processes with our existing businesses and those looking to come to Wadsworth. But we are always looking to improve, and we realize that we're not perfect. Through the recent budgetary process, we designated funding to provide additional resources for assisting with private development. Additionally, we are gathering a group of individuals in and outside the community to help us look at the planning, zoning, and development codes and guidelines. The goal is to create an easier place to develop and allow different types of development to occur, such as smaller lot splits, subdivisions with larger lot sizes, as well as making commercial and industrial developments more streamlined and give quicker approvals for all of those I just mentioned. Lastly, on economic development, I wanted to share a new video that we have here. we were excited to share that. Obviously, it's meant for those that are thinking about coming to Wadsworth, and it sounds like you enjoyed it as much as we were hopeful of that. Well, next, I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the accomplishments that we've had this past year. Okay, roundabout. How could I not do this without have this without talking about the roundabout? Obviously, very much discussed and talked about. I'm going to guess majority of you have had the opportunity to go through the roundabout, but I will say that it has actually been very well received. We're hearing, and it's performing quite well. We've received numerous compliments from motorists that use that area frequently, as well as from our businesses in the nearby area. The backups during off-peak times are now non-existent, where cars freely move through the intersection with no wait. During peak times, the backup traffic is roughly half of what it used to be. There were 0 accidents from when the roundabout opened in October through the end of the year, although there have been some minor rear ends since the beginning of the year. You might recall that the 2 main reasons for the roundabout was to improve the traffic flow as well as to make the intersection safer by avoiding more serious high-speed accidents, and it has accomplished that. So we're very, very pleased with that. Another project that we're very happy to have accomplished is the southwest parking lot. This was actually completed in September of last year. It was actually ahead of the contractor schedule, although as we all know, we've been anxiously awaiting that project for a long time. This project gave much needed improvements to the area that had been planned for years, with businesses making improvements now to the back of their buildings, along with the new mural that was painted through a Main Street initiative. The area continues to improve and could actually be an area where future event planning could be occurring. The Park Master Plan update. Last summer, we started taking a comprehensive look at all of our parks and trails. The purpose was to ensure that we are moving forward with improvements that will fit into the vision and needs of our community for the next generation. The hope is to make improvements to all of our parks over the next 10 years, and then, of course, this will be our guide. The process started with consultants visiting every single park and trail in the community, and you can see we have numerous parks here listed, and performing basically an inventory as well as a conditions assessment. From there, they had individual meetings with groups that are heavy users of the parks. Special interest groups, I would state, such as like the Little League, tennis groups, pickleball, Friends of the Wadsworth Trails, and others, because obviously they are heavy users, and we were certainly interested in their feedback. Next, a working group was brought together to help guide the consultants with their work. The consultants prepared preliminary concepts that were reviewed in a public engagement meeting, and then it was also broadcast to the public in the form of a survey. And we were absolutely thrilled, and I will say the consultants were very thrilled, because we received over 2,300 respondents to those surveys. And so we got a tremendous amount of feedback as far as what is needed in the parks, what they like about the parks, what needed renovated, and so forth. These results were important to gather feedback so that everyone has a voice. After the comments from the working group, basically now the consultant is working to finalize those ideas, and the thought is that they will be unveiling their thoughts and recommendations to the public in a meeting in March. So it's coming right away. A generation project in Sharon. 2 years ago, we spoke about the electric peaking project that was over at Freed Park. And that included the installation of diesel generators to run during times of peak electric usage, as well as to reduce costs to be able to be used for backup emergency generation as well. The project has been a huge success, and so we also looked for another opportunity for another site. And another site has been selected, and it was the substation next to our Sharon Township. This is another project that was by American Municipal Power that will benefit all of our ratepayers by reducing our high transmission costs as well as our capacity costs. Those costs have increased threefold over the last 10 years, and so we are always looking for a reduction of that. This project is almost completed and will be running for peak demand season this summer. We have several things on the schedule for 2023, so I wanted to mention a few of these initiatives. The first is the Downtown Streetscape and Infrastructure Improvement Project. I wanted to give a little bit of an update on that. As we've reported in this very forum previously, the downtown has aging infrastructure that is in need of replacement. We have water lines that are upwards of 100 years old. In 2000, among other infrastructure. In 2019 and 2020, the city held several public engagement meetings which generated many ideas and suggestions for improving the downtown. A consultant hired by the city used these collective community insights to develop a conceptual plan for enhancing the downtown business district. The consultant completed the plan early in 2020, but the project was held up in March of 2020 due to the pandemic. Due to concerns with timing after COVID, or in the following years, the project was readdressed each budget cycle since then, and differing opinions were expressed. Due to the magnitude of the project and the importance of having a consensus to move forward, in December, I decided, with the support of council, to remove the engineering and design phase from the 2023 budget. In its place, the consultant who developed the original concept will now be returning to Wadsworth later in the year to re-engage the residents, our businesses, our building owners, to ensure that the project, that as it moves forward, aligns with the current ambitions with the Wadsworth community. The thought is this is too large of a project, too much of a project that we need to have some consensus on this. So that will be forthcoming, and still working on it. Street Improvement Program. This will be the largest program ever for our street improvement. This program is funded mainly by that 0.1% income tax that has been approved for the community. And that income tax is collected and it directly benefits for the street repairs. We estimate that this year's program will be almost $2.6 million, and that's a huge projects for us. We will be working on a lot of concrete streets because our 10-year analysis had basically shown that our concrete streets are in need of repair. And so we will be working to do that. We will actually be paving these streets with asphalt, and they include Oak Street, Valley View, Baker, and Wolf Avenue. Asphalt streets will also be resurfaced in this program, and they include East Boyer, West Prospect, Mills, Wauwatosa, Washington, and State Street. And actually, State Street is being funded with the help of some federal funds as well. Park improvements, particularly Durling and Memorial. I talked about that Parks Master Plan. Well, once we have the approved designs and the master plan has been completed by the consultant, we can come to the next step, which is actually the most exciting, and that is the refreshing and the improvement of both Memorial and Durling parks. We chose those parks to be kind of on the front lines because they are our larger parks, but particularly they are the most used. Memorial's our larger park, and it's very, very heavily used, as is Durling. The consultant will do the final design work for the improvement so we can get going on the updates of both of those parks. For Memorial, updated features include a new Kaleidoscope playground. And I know Kaleidoscope Playground is a beloved playground. I had a tremendous amount to do with it when it was constructed, but it's almost 28 years old, and it's a wood structure, and it has, it's at the end of its youthful life, and so we will be replacing Kaleidoscope with another playground. Also, we'll have additional small pavilions, tennis courts, and restrooms. Planned additions include pickleball courts, a music venue, a new memorial walk feature, and future additions will include an ice skating area, a splash pad, more courts, parking, and roadways. So it's a huge endeavor in this park. It's going to really be a wonderful, wonderful transformation. And there will be some phasing because of the enormity of the projects, but it's going to be great to be able to start working on that this year. For Durling, updated features will include new tennis, pickleball, and basketball courts, Additions will include new walkways, a pavilion, and future features such as the hillside playground and restrooms. And this is just this year, you know, and of course we have other parks, and those will start to follow as well. I did want to mention that we're actually starting on some of the improvements in the other parks, including Weatherstone. The McNeil Cabinetry, actually, they renovated some restrooms recently, and we are grateful for their support and for them giving back to the community. We wanted to talk a little bit about Beautify Wadsworth initiative. We recognize that our businesses and residents are doing a great job of keeping the community beautiful and doing their part. And we thought it would be fun to have an initiative to acknowledge and encourage beautification within the city. And so community members will be able to nominate businesses and residents that have made enhancements to their facilities and to their homes. Businesses will be nominated and selected for aesthetically attractive features, which may include street-facing landscaping enhancements, facades, window dressings, decorative additions, and signage. Residences features may include street-facing landscaping enhancements, home and property maintenance, and decorative additions as well. More to come about this in the spring, but we're going to be kicking this off this spring, and then obviously things will be going on in the summer because, I don't know, Wadsworth is so pretty in the summer. We've got to take advantage of that. In addition, in an effort to do our part, meaning the city, when making improvements, attention is given to decorative features when there is opportunity to do so. For example, we just talked about that recent roundabout, and if you've gone through that, you recognize that there was some additional prioritization made in that area to beautify that area. Well, one of the next features to beautify the community is landscaping at the 76 and 94 interchanges. We are working on a study to design and designs to improve that interchange, which will include new landscaping and signage for that area gateway to the community. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about public safety. We had some statistics listed here. Our police, fire, and EMS continue to be quite busy. These are the statistics from last year. Actually, our police, it was fairly consistent with what it has been the previous year, but our fire, those numbers are actually up 25% over the previous year. Our EMS calls, that was a 20% increase since 2020. And so that's not unusual as far as us having additional calls for service on these variety of services. And so we recognize that that's something that we needed to look at. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about that with staffing. As openings have occurred, we've been fortunate to bring on some wonderful additions to our safety forces. In addition, recognizing increasing call volumes, population growth over the years, as well as demand for services, we made a conscious decision to add positions within the city safety forces in the 2023 budget. Expanding our authorized strength level in the police department to 33, and that's actually an increase of 1 for this year, and I'm going to mention that most likely it's going to be happening additional in the future as well. We're also increasing our full-time firefighter paramedic authorized strength level to 15, and that's an increase actually of 3, with a plan for additional firefighter medic positions in the future. And then lastly, we needed to increase, for those individuals that handle all those logistics behind the scenes, our 911 dispatcher units. We've added 1 dispatcher and a dispatcher supervisor, and that actually is a new position. We've not had a supervisor in that before. We're adding those 2 positions this next year, so that we will be able to handle the increased calls in the future and be able to continue having that wonderful level of service that we all enjoy. The fire station project, I'm sure many of you have driven past the project as it's developing on College Street. It's really coming along, and particularly over the last little bit. You can see so it's really coming along. Well, Director Hiscock and I are very happy with the progress of the new fire station and headquarters building for our new fire and EMS department. What had just been concepts and designs for many years has become a reality, and we certainly could not be happier. With a reduced construction cost of just over $9 million, we were able to make some cost-saving decisions that allowed us to build a building that will not only meet the current needs for our community and department, but we will also be able to be scalable for our future needs. The city is using a construction manager at risk project model for the first time, and we are actually very happy to report that the project is currently on time and on budget as we continue to navigate building industry supply chain issues. You can watch the progress actually in real time by logging onto our two fire station site public cameras on our website. EMS levy. In November, our citizens approved our $3 million EMS levy, which we are very, very grateful. These vitally important levy dollars go directly to operational and capital expenditures for the EMS department. Without them, we would be unable to add the firefighter medics that I had just mentioned and replace ambulances, medical equipment, and other supplies to keep pace with the expectation and demands of our community. We are so thankful for the community support of these essential advanced life-saving services. You probably have noticed, if you attend any of these events, our safety forces are out in strong numbers. They feel that it's important, as do I, to build strong relationships within our community, and they have made this a priority. With continued participation and leadership in such community events as National Night Out, Cops and Kids, annual elementary school fire station tours, food drive distributions, safety forces, First Friday, Safety Town, and Safety Forces Camp, they are very visible in the community. And it's a wonderful opportunity for each of you, community members, to be able to see some of the equipment that we have and get to know our safety forces, but also some of the things that they do, as well as for our children within our schools to be able to have more association with them. Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about what's ahead for our safety forces. We certainly have some exciting projects and community partnerships in 2023. Actually, as of yesterday, we had the delivery and placement into operation in the coming weeks, a new Ladder 1, which is the first new aerial device for our fire department in over 30 years. I saw it tooling around a little bit yesterday, and it was just wonderful to have that delivered. Installation and implementation of new flock public safety cameras throughout the city that will provide our police department with the opportunity to leverage technology to keep our community safer. And then lastly, and this one I'm like crazy excited about, the construction of a new permanent Safety Town Village and 911 memorial, where individuals and businesses will have the opportunity to sponsor little miniature buildings and have pavers to help the park become a reality. This will be located directly behind this brand new fire station that's under construction, and is, if you know the late logistics there, it actually is just at the north part of Memorial Park. So Memorial Park, the northern part of it, and then immediately north of that would be this little safety town and 911 memorial area. So it will be easily accessible to the community, and we just think that this is going to be a wonderful new feature that will add a lot to not only our safety forces, but our children that will be utilizing this over the years. So as you can see, 2022 and into this year, it's been very busy, but also very productive. We hit the ground running in 2023. The community has much to look forward to, and it will be wonderful seeing these projects and initiatives come to fruition. But before I sit down, and I know I've been talking a lot, before I sit down, as you might remember, it's traditional for me to have the opportunity to give the Key to the City award. And as you remember, the Key to the City is given to an individual or individuals who have made a difference. Often that difference is a lifetime of service, and as I mentioned, just service, it's often service-oriented. I generally am able to make this a surprise. I'm able to get the individual or individuals here under whatever, I'm able to sneak them in here. This one, I couldn't do it because the individuals, I will say, are just very, very busy and very, very involved in the community. I wasn't able to surprise them, so they are kind of aware of it. So at this time, I'm going to have them come up. This is Ron and Kathleen Pato are being honored this year, and I'm going to tell you all about them. Come on up. Well, I know that many of you know Ron and Kathleen, obviously, because they are very, very involved, and we'll hear about that in just a moment. But they are truly wonderful, wonderful servants here in the community. I will tell you that a little bit about them. First of all, they are proud parents of 4 amazing adult children. They have Melissa and her husband Connor, Catherine and her fiance Jake, Elizabeth and her husband Calvin, and Matthew. During much of their 35-year marriage, that would have been pretty quick. So during much of their 35-year marriage, Kathleen and Ron, along with their 4 biological children, have opened their homes to those in need. They have been licensed foster parents in both Medina and Summit counties and specialize in both medically fragile children and large sibling groups. They have fostered over, and I just need to pause here, they have fostered over 160 foster children from all over Ohio. Wow! And get this was a break here. During a 10-year break that they took to raise their own young children, they hosted 7 foreign exchange students through the Rotary Club. And I remember that. Because of my husband. Many of us know Ron and his work through Huntington Bank by way of First Merit. He's worked there for 35 years and is currently the community president for Huntington Bank in Medina County, as well as a dedicated group banking manager for Huntington, which spans the entire company. I don't know, some of you might be aware, but he has an interesting next-door neighbor, Craig and Susie Hassinger. And so Craig gave me this quote. He says, "Most of us know the impact Ron makes on our community in his business capacity. The guy works 20 hours a day serving in a leadership role at Huntington Bank. He supports the nonprofit community by serving on boards, raising money, or simply sharing their stories in a community is also admirable. What most people don't know about is the role Ron serves as the athletic director at Sacred Heart Church. We won't mention him snow blowing his driveway in his shorts, but the lack of sleep may explain his lack of feeling for the cold weather." So that was from Craig. Ron currently serves on many boards, the Wadsworth Salvation Army, YMCA of Summit Medina County, Red Cross of Summit Medina, Boys Scouts of the Great Trail Council. He's also served on many others. For example, he was on the Wadsworth Chamber Board, as many of you remember. Main Street Wadsworth, Wadsworth YMCA, Wadsworth Public Library Foundation, Medina County Economic Development, Medina County Port Authority, and so forth. So very, very, very busy guy. And both he and Kathleen have served as scout leaders for their daughters when they were getting their gold awards over the years, as well as their son, who is now an Eagle Scout. And they have been members of the Sacred Heart Parish since they moved here. So now we're going to learn a little bit about Kathleen. She's an RN who worked at Wadsworth Rittman Hospital for 22 years and retired in 2010. She was a nurse at Sacred Heart School for 4 years and is the author of a book, Fostering Love, A Glimpse into Foster Care. Who better to write that book? Kathleen speaks to various county, government, and educational groups promoting foster care. She mentors new foster families and does emergency respite placements to diffuse unstable situations for area foster and adoptive children. And one closing quote from Craig again. He states, "We have watched as neighbors the transformation of these kids from the moment they arrived to the day they returned home or found a permanent home with new parents. Their passion for these kids is amazing. In many situations, these children show up broken and leave with a chance to make it after being handed an unfair start to life." So congratulations to Ron and Kathleen, and thank you for all your years of service and continued service in the community and beyond. Thank you very much. I'm going to go around this way because there's a...
Since Mr. Hassinger was so nice to be quoted, I would also share with you he's not been a very good influence on foster kids at the Pato household. He is known to open the trunk of his car and just start throwing out treats and this and that. So, donuts. But donuts, yes. Ann's Pastries, the acquisition of the Hassinger family with Ann's Pastries has not been good. for our household. I just, we are so humbled by this award when Robin called, and I think for me the best part about it is it's an award honoring both Kathleen and I, because both on the personal side and the professional side, it's really been a team effort through the years, and we've been successful because of each other. But I'd like to thank our families. When you're in foster care, it's a crazy life, and kids show up at holidays, and they show up here and they show up there. And both sides of our family have always embraced our foster kids when we have them. Or biological. It is not easy being a biological kid in a foster home. There are sacrifices that the kids endure, and our biological kids have just been fantastic through this journey as well. It takes a community to raise a child. Our Sacred Heart community has been so helpful. And last but not least, I stand up here because of the people who I work with as well. They are tremendously supportive of me, both on the personal side and the professional side, and I can't thank them enough for everything they do each and every day.
It's hard to top that. I think I would just want to say that never have we cared for a child alone. There are so many people who help us in the community and our families, and it does take so many support people. And we've had a big impact on children, and we feel that's good because we're just trying to change our community one child at a time. And every child that we strengthen, including our own, we hope that leads to them having a strong family and being active in their community. And so we thank all of the people out there, our family and community members who support our family.
Wadsworth truly is a wonderful city, isn't it? We thank you, Mayor Robin, for the updates. There's a wonderful city. It's a lot of wonderful people here.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.